There are countless creepy transport stories, but a few in particular stand out, such as Dick Turpin and Heathrow, the Devil's Highway, and the Stockbridge Bypass. I've curated some of these best stories for your enjoyment below. If you thought creepy transport stories were boring, think again. The Phantom Red Bus. If you've seen the Harry Potter films, then you'll know all about the Night Bus, but long before Harry Potter came along, there was the Phantom Bus of London. This red double-decker bus of route number 7 has been a Halloween story of legend since 1934. According to legend of this creepy bus story, the first sighting came when a driver met his demise late one night. From nowhere, the red bus appeared in the middle of the road, making the driver swerve to avoid hitting the bus, but straight into a wall, killing him instantly. Witnesses later described seeing a ghostly red bus driving down the middle of the road, which they firmly believed caused the crash. However, the bus simply vanished and could not be seen or found, leaving many to doubt the witness claims on that night. Many years followed and several more sightings began to be reported, too, of this mysterious bus, backing up the original witness claims at the time. This same red ghost bus would appear in Cambridge Gardens at exactly 1:15 a.m. With no driver, no passengers. It would career down the middle of the road, causing frightened motorists in its path to swerve and crash. The ghost bus hasn't been sighted since 1990, and many believe that this is because the curved road leading up the infamous intersection was straightened, preventing the red double-decker bus from ever completing its journey. Back in 1730, there was a famous highwayman called Dick Turpin. To say he didn't have the best of morals would be an understatement. He would torture, steal, and kill, taking with him everything he could grab. He was eventually caught and sentenced to death in 1739. Turpin took things into his own hands by cheating the hangman, by throwing himself from the gallows, and committing suicide. We will never know the truth behind many of the stories surrounding the highwayman, but the way in which Dick Turpin's death happened makes many uneasy around Halloween. The reason is that along the A4 Bath Road near Heathrow Airport was where the infamous Dick Turpin lived. Here he would wait and rob the stagecoaches going to Bath from London. This area, long before the airport was built, was known as Heathrow. His spirit is said to still haunt the land. Reported sightings have been traced back to the time even before the airport was even constructed. People in recent times have reported sightings of a black stallion, a dark figure in period clothing, and a tricorn hat standing in the main terminal. In the same area, many have claimed to have seen a spirit figure of a rider sitting astride a black horse, dressed in a tunic, and again, a black tricorn hat. He is said to remain quite still, partly obscured by the trees. Could this be Turpin's nefarious spirit, lying in wait for that unsuspecting stagecoach to pass by? The most haunted roads. Driving in the dark can be scary enough, but it seems some drivers have reason to be afraid. There are several spooky haunted roads throughout the UK. We've all heard of haunted castles, hotels, and now airports, but not many have considered that the roads themselves are haunted. Whether you believe in ghosts or not, these stories will make you shiver. Bluebell Hill, Kent. The Dark Night Road. In the last few decades, there have been numerous sightings of ghostly figures standing in the road on Bluebell Hill. The most reported sighting has been that of Judith Langham, who was a young bride to be killed in a car collision on the day of her wedding on November 19, 1965. She was just 22. According to witness statements, she haunts the road wearing a white dress, startling drivers who believe they have hit and injured her. When they run out of the car to help her, she simply disappears. Another driver reported that he had carried a woman with injuries to the side of the road, wrapping her in a blanket before calling the police. When he returned with the police, the blanket was there, but the girl was nowhere to be found. Some drivers in the area have reported seeing a woman standing by the side of the road. Some have even stopped, offering to give her a lift. The woman gets in the car and is driven to her destination, only for her to disappear just as they arrive. The A467 between Arbertillery and Aberbeek is home to several ghost stories and strange experiences. It is a lovely stretch of road overshadowed by trees. There are numerous creepy stories along this stretch of road, but the most famous of them is related to a true crime that was committed in the early 1900s, involving the ghost of a local policeman, Hosea Pope. At 11 p.m. on the 14th of July 1911, P.C. Pope attempted to detain a notorious rogue by the name of James Weiss. He had been causing a lot of trouble by throwing stones. The two fought. Pope dropped to the ground and died. Reports later stated that he had died from heart failure, but suspicion ran thick and fast, and the community were hugely skeptical. Weiss escaped the death penalty, but was given 5 years of penal servitude for manslaughter. Since that fateful night, reports have come in thick and fast of people seeing P.C. Pope on his usual beat, wearing a cape and tall hat. One man has even claimed to have seen the figure walking towards him, staring him in the eye before taking the pocket watch out of his cape. Then a high-pitched scream echoed through the woods, making the figure slowly turn around and head into the woods. Despite being petrified, the man followed, only for the figure to disappear in front of him. The Devil's Highway. This road shares the name of the devil, given the nature of this article. Unsurprisingly, several accidents have happened along this stretch of road. They are reportedly caused by sightings of a hunched-over figure limping at the side of the road. In 2015, dashcam footage emerged revealing a white creature appearing out of nowhere on a deserted road. The video shows the figure slowly approaching the terrified driver, while the passenger simply just cries for help. Pitt Lane, Lancashire. Pitt Lane in Westoughton, Lancashire, runs close to the site of the 1910 Pretoria Pit tragedy. Out of the 900 miners who worked there, 344 miners were killed in an explosion deep within the mine. Many didn't die from the explosion, but suffocated, meaning some walked more than 300 yards before becoming overcome by the fumes. They were found as though they had gone to sleep. Many motorists have reported many disturbing sightings along this road, including dark sets of eyes staring at them as they were caught in traffic. Motorists have also reported seeing slow-walking miners alongside cars, some even pulling coal wagons behind them. The road attracts an eerie mist throughout the year, and sightings continue today. Part of the M6 has existed for almost 2,000 years. It was used by the Roman soldiers during the Roman occupation of England in 55 BC. Several motorists have reported seeing unusual sightings along the motorway, including seeing a ghostly woman waiting at the side of the road, trying to hitchhike. The sightings have included seeing Roman soldiers marching across the road, and some have even gone as far as stating that when they were waiting for roadside assistance, sets of eyes were looking back at them from behind the bushes as they moved along for information. Many believe the reason for the unusual sightings is because of the M6 was built near an ancient Roman burial ground, and that the building work awoke their spirits. Stockbridge Bypass. In 1988, a new road was built across the Peak District of northern England to help connect the M1 motorway with the Woodhead Pass and the A1616. Once building work started, reports of unusual occurrences began to surface, and the road soon became famous, not only for its paranormal activity, but for being one of the most haunted roads in the UK. Even before the road was completed, stories began emerging. According to reports, during the time when the road was under construction, 2 security guards reported witnessing children in old-fashioned clothing dancing near the construction site. The guards were shocked at first because it was not safe, but when they approached the children, they disappeared, along with footprints they left behind. There used to be a mine that ran underneath where the bypass had been built, and there are many mine chutes across the land, and local children playing in the area used to fall down them, their bodies never to be found. It is said that their spirits stay by the bypass. If you look across the fields, you can sometimes see them playing, sometimes appearing in the middle of the road, causing countless accidents. But this isn't at all what happened here. According to the security guard's account, they also came face to face with a ghostly monk too. What makes this even more creepy is that the land is said to also be the final resting place of the monk who rejected his religion and was buried in an unhallowed grave. Drivers today say they often see a monk standing by the side of the road as they pass by. Even if you don't believe in ghosts, you can't ignore the numbers. Statistics show a high accident rate on this road, with 14 fatalities killed in the first 10 years, many caused because they had swerved to avoid a child on the road. During World War II, Bethnal Green was used as an anti-air raid shelter, as it was one of the few deep-level tunnels in the East End. It saved many lives, but the station itself became the site of the tragedy. On March 3, 1943, a human stampede caused by a sudden panic from hearing a nearby anti-aircraft battery firing caused a horrific crush. 173 people died from asphyxiation, and this disaster became known as the deadliest civilian incident of World War II. Continuing today, staff at Bethnal Green claim they often experience paranormal activity during their night shifts. Reports have even included hearing children sobbing and hearing screams of male and female voices. They also report noises that could not be identified. Then once 10 minutes have passed, everything goes quiet. Bank Station. The Black Nun is said to haunt this station, bringing feelings of despondency and apprehension, and with her the sounds of moans and wails. The Black Nun is said to be the spirit of the mourning woman, Sarah Whitehead. Her brother worked many years ago at the Bank of England, and he was hung for committing forgery. Following his death, it was reported that Sarah Whitehead would often visit the bank in a long black dress and matching full-face veil, asking for her brother. When she died, her remains were interred in a plot behind the Bank of England. However, there is another event that makes the Bank Station one of the creepiest to travel through. Bank Station itself is built upon an old plague pit. Some believe that this is why additional spirits also haunt its underground tunnels alongside the Black Nun, which is why the station just has that eerie and creepy feeling that something just isn't right. The Liverpool Street Station Ghost. Liverpool Street Station was also built upon a plague pit. The station had been host to a lot of paranormal activity, some of which has been caught on film. There is apparently a frequent ghostly visitor to parts of the station, often the eastbound Central Line platform during closing time. There have also been strange figures caught on CCTV cameras in the dead of night. Staff have even talked of a man in overalls waiting for a train that never comes. When staff approach him, he disappears. We wouldn't recommend walking around here late at night, alone.